Welcome to You Ask 502, the podcast where real stories meet real skills from the plumbers, pipe fitters, and service techs of Local 502. I'm your host, Ryan Cleveland. This isn't just another trades podcast. It's our story, told by the people who live it every day. From apprentices to seasoned journeymen, we're talking shop, sharing lessons, and highlighting the wins and challenges of life in the field. With over 25 years in the trade, I've seen a lot, and I'm here to bring those experiences and yours to the mic. We'll cover everything from technical tips and union updates to job site stories and career advice. So subscribe, tune in, and be part of the conversation. This is US 502, powered by Local 502, driven by you. All right, welcome to the next edition of US 502. Joining me today is one of our training coordinators, Jeremy Killebrew. How you doing, bud?
Doing great, man.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on. I know we've been working on this for a while to try to get it set up, so I'm excited.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy's a great dude. Jeremy is one of the better men I know, since I've been in this trade. So he's just a very compassionate, good person. So
thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your role. Like, what do you?
So, I'm wrangling, along with Nick and Mike, we're wrangling over 600 apprentices every day. It's a daunting task.
It's a lot of responsibility too.
It is.
We're responsible for.
Right. Everybody knows we take care of all the certifications for the local and get everybody signed up for their med gas test and their plumbing license and their HVAC license and everything.
So you're CWI, right?
Certified.
Yep. Nick is as well.
Yep.
Which I think he teaches. Mike a master HVAC.
He is. He just got his
there.
Yeah, he just got his master's license.
Okay.
Yeah. And in doing that, Nick has kind of given me the role of taking over the weld shop and in charge of the pipe fitters and stuff. And it's been pretty neat to be a part of. When I got my CWI, I severely underestimated the task.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
It's really good. It's been something I've really enjoyed, though, is really taking a deep dive into it.
You kind of learn how they grade, too. Because,
Yes.
we've all been young, taking tests, and it's like, are you seriously looking me up for this?
Right.
Like, it's a 64th, but
Right.
if you knew the curriculum, and then how you're graded when you send something to Tulsa, and they're like, the fuck is this? Like,
Right.
why would you even send this? So
Right.
it's tough, to be, essentially a ball buster here, because you're your ball's busted at the other end.
Right, and that's something that a lot of our members don't understand is that, that our tests go through 3 visual inspections before they actually hit the destructive testing part of it. And, we have our CWI that runs the ATR that runs the test.
Mm-hmm.
That I take a look at them once I get them back to my office to make sure we're all seeing the same thing. We send them off to Tulsa, and they do another visual inspection. And the key part is why we have 2 people look at it here is that it makes it to Tulsa and doesn't pass a visual inspection. We get 1 strike by the UA.
Yeah.
If we get 2 strikes by the UA, we lose our testing credentials. So we would no longer be able to administer UA well tests here in Louisville. Our members would have to travel. And
Remember that, kids?
Yeah, it's a big deal. Nobody wants to drive to Paducah or Lexington or Ashland to test. Their facilities aren't near what ours are. And,
right.
No
disrespect to the others.
No. They have nice facilities, but
ours are pretty
nice.
Fair enough. Yeah. We got the funds to do that.
We do. We're very fortunate. That's something that's really opened my eyes to how nice our facility is we get to travel around to not only the other training centers in the state,
right.
We also get to travel around to other states, being judges for contests in Ohio,
Indiana.
West Virginia, Indiana.
Back up,
And we get to go around and see those other centers, and it's human nature. We compare them to ours, and ours is pretty nice.
Top notch.
It is real nice.
Top notch.
Yeah.
So I guess we can kind of, not really segue, but kind of go off track just a little bit. So, Jeremy's been a really integral part in designing the new school. So, know Jeremy was bougie, but apparently, $50 million is the bottom dollar. So
yeah. You asked my wife. She calls me Beyonce because I like things the way I like them.
I like things nice.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the new school it's been fun. It's been neat. Me and Nick and Mike, we set up at a local Mexican restaurant and started designing it on a napkin.
Right.
And that's where it all started, and it has morphed into
10 margaritas and 6 bowls of salsa later. Here we are.
Here we are.
Well, and it is. I mean, it's when you design something,
Right.
just like anything, you go into negotiation. If you want a new car, it's like, all right, this is what I want.
Right.
It's like, no shit. All right, let's start paring down a little bit. Like what I need and what is a luxury.
That's right. We
we're in that part of the process.
Right. We shop for a navigator, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. 4Runner. New Mavericks.
Yeah, maybe a 2001 4Runner. We'll see what happens.
The rims are cleaned up. So,
yeah.
Anyway, we're working on it, so that's kind of with that, because if it does come to fruition, then the welding shop we have now is essentially shit compared to what we're going to have.
Compared to what we're going to have. Yeah, we're shooting for 80 booths. Every booth to have all the gaskets you would ever need. A standalone Orbital Lab, which will be very nice. A standalone pipe fitting shop, which that'll be great too, because that's something that we are in desperate need of at Miller's Lane is shop space. And our advanced pipe fitting class, Adam Diedrich and Rob Adele have done a phenomenal job with that class, and they need to hang more stuff from the ceiling, and you can only hang so much from a red iron ceiling. So.
Woody and I started that class.
Yeah,
that's come a long way.
Yeah, that's where I started teaching was with Woody and advanced pipe fitting. Yeah, it's neat. Thanks to good OL Dub, we got a pretty nice class going on.
It's nice. It's actually being able to do things that I know basic pipe fitting is just thread and pipe, the basics.
Right.
But advanced really goes the next step.
Right.
And, I know you teach them, we did saddles, stuff like that, wise. But then I've noticed also he had them actually, holding up pumps, actually designing a system, which is kind of cool. Because if you're the apprentice that's just kind of stuck, running and grabbing tools, it's nice to be able to actually.
Right. And that's the way Rob and Adam run that class. Because our classes are so big now, half of them do the mini mechanical room with them.
Right.
And then the other one takes them down to the shop, works on their odd degree layout, or saddle layout, different things like that. But it's exactly that. They're laying out a miniature little pump house or a boiler room or something like that. And we've also, I don't know if you know or not, but we've developed a pipe fitter practices class, which is really taken off and picked up a lot of steam. We do it with our second and third years, and it is
you got to drink 4 cups of coffee before 9.
That's right.
Take a half hour.
That's right.
Break.
That's right. And so it's kind of an intermediate class in between our basic pipe fitting class and our advanced pipe fitting class. So it gets them introduced to tube bending, layout techniques. They do a little bit of welding in there throughout their layout techniques. We built some new trainers and stuff for them to do offsets. And what it's going to do, it's going to let Adam and Rob free up that advanced pipe fitting class to get into even deeper into the weeds of what pipe fitters do. They're not going to have to take a step back and go over tube bending and layout formulas and stuff. They can jump right into the meat and potatoes.
That's good.
And advance that class.
This might be something for a conversation later, but I've always, some things you see people struggle with, even journeymen, is even just putting a drop-in anchor in it, and they just kind of tap it, or they want to use the hammer drill to set it, and it doesn't set it. I mean, I've seen numerous pull out. It's actually very jarring. Thank God they all don't come out. But I don't know where you get concrete. We just go pour a pad, just let them, beat holes in it. But I mean, that'd be something to actually show them how to properly set an anchor, how to, maybe do the epoxy sets, just something that you don't
Right.
normally do. But
Right.
and then I was so you watched like any cooking channel, like Hell's Kitchen.
Mhm.
Like, how could you apply like Hell's Kitchen to us? We've been in these situations where it's like beat the clock.
Right.
It's like, all right, you get a bad fit up, it's got to be done. You know what I mean? Can you break the walls down? You know what I mean? I don't know how you.
A time frame.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a trainer for like pump cavitating and for service, and you got to figure out what's wrong, or a chiller meltdown. And it's all simulated, kind of like like when you do the airplane simulators, and it's like, all right, you're going to spin. How do you get out?
Right.
Now it's like your chiller's going to blow. Like, what do you do? Like, oh shit.
Right.
Leave and go to SWH. Do you call train? Do you actually start? I don't know if there's something to do.
That's a
stressful.
I mean, that's a good idea. That's how.
It could be like a competition,
Right.
Then people can cheer you on. And like,
Right.
okay.
Right. That's how a lot of the HVAC classes are set up. We run most of our classes with 2 instructors anymore. One instructor in an HVAC class. They'll stay in the classroom with the apprentices while the other one's out in the shop sabotaging equipment. They have to go out and diagnose it.
Very rarely do you have everything you need.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So there's like another cookie show. You give you like a basket. And it's like, here's pig heart, celery, and pudding. Make a dinner. And you're like,
Right.
So like,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's these hangers. All we have no 3/8 nuts.
Right.
It's like what?
Right. And it's kind of this new pipe fitter practices class is kind of it's morphed into that. It's a new class, so we don't really have all our tools together yet, and our trainers and everything. So they're kind of having to. Not only are the instructors kind of have to figure it out on the fly, but then the apprentices, they're working for an up and coming contractor. You may think, and
So that's what I was going to say.
they're picking and piecing and trying to make the best of what they got. And
So you're only training with the best of the best.
Right.
All the nice Milwaukee tools, all the, and then
Right.
you get to your company and it's like,
Yeah.
I got to hand thread this.
Right.
It's like, what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. Where do I plug this
Okay.
extension cord in?
Yeah, where's the extension cord go? Like, what is this? How to repair an extension cord.
Right.
And stuff. You
Right.
just sit there with your hands in your pocket.
Right.
So you've been doing a lot of outreach with high school.
I have.
I know you're usually, whenever I go over there, if you're gone, you're talking to the young men and women around the state. So what do you think?
It's something I feel strongly about, because when you're in a high school classroom and you walk in and these kids know that you're from local 502, all eyes are on you.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
true.
We don't really,
Because you just go to vocational.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
I
most.
know you go to like Trinity, St. X,
Mhm.
which I'm sure their parents are rolling over like grade,
Right.
$100,000 for tuition.
Yeah.
But
Right.
save your more tuition.
Right. And so when we get there, all eyes are on us. The kids are really paying attention to what we have to say. We keep our presentation fresh, and it's neat it's rewarding for us when we do these presentations for the few kids that stay after, and they come up and they shake your hand. They want to know more about the program. They want your contact information. So something that we find that is very beneficial for kids who are applying to the program is for them to come down and take a tour of Miller's Lane.
Yep.
And that really helps them wrap their head around what we do. Most people think most people don't even know what a pipe fitter does.
True. They equate it to a plumber.
They equate it to a plumber.
And
Right.
most people think plumbers just plunge toilets all day.
Right.
Like, you couldn't be further.
Right.
There is an aspect to it, but that's like
Right.
1%.
Right. That's what I tell them. Like 95% of our plumbers are doing new construction. They're doing medical gas.
Yeah.
And
You got clean water in your sink. You're
Right.
welcome.
Right.
Shit goes when you hit the button.
Right.
You're welcome. Like,
Right. That's a question I always ask when I'm doing a presentation. Who here knows what a plumber did in your school? They always forget about the science labs. They always forget about the showers in the locker rooms.
Mm-hmm.
They always forget about the eye wash stations.
You're smart.
Yeah. So it really brings it together for them, and they're like, "Wow, we didn't realize this is what goes into plumbing."
Yeah. It's all pipe.
It's
It's all
great.
new pipe.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right.
service on anything sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? service and process piping. That's, I mean,
Right.
it smells as bad as sewer, but it's just as bad.
It's just as bad if you've been in the basement of Swift. It's yeah,
Go there.
we know we won't. Yeah, that's
Trying to attract people.
Yeah, kids are probably going to watch this.
Yeah.
So back to the outreach. It's it works. It really does. We've kind of had a void in southern Indiana, Floyd County, Harrison County, Clark County, and I've really been trying to focus on those counties because a lot of those counties are blue collar counties, and most of these kids grow up working. They're growing up working on a farm. Mom and dad makes them work, get into high school. So we don't have to teach them the work ethic part of it. And I know several contractors last year picked up several kids out of Harrison County. So it seems to be really picking up speed.
Well, if the schools know you're coming
Right.
too, I mean, they'll make
Right.
exceptions and make try. I think some schools just don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, they still. I think it's just now coming around, but you almost have to have a dire need for mechanics in
Right.
all aspects of trades to be like, oh, okay, well, actually, somebody needs to build the schools that we're trying to get people to go to.
That's right.
Someone needs to build the office buildings and the hospitals and everything. I mean,
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody's familiar with Prosser.
Mhm.
They just started a plumbing and pipe fitting pathway.
So we're mainly HVAC, right?
They were HVAC and welding, and they reached out to me. Their director reached out to me, and it was wanting to know if I'd sit on their advisory committee with them,
Right.
help develop that program. And I've been right in the middle of it the entire time, and I brought them over to our school and shown them what our labs look like, and to help move that program along, because that's going to be a great feeder for us.
Well, we did that at South Oda, remember?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you went.
I
know
went.
you've been, but I know
Yeah.
Nick and I went, and then we had Oldham County, Board of Education representation here walking through, like, oh, okay, and they kind of tried to mimic their weld class, weld shop like ours, and it's going pretty good. And I think we've got 5 or 6 young men and women from there. And
We
spread
actually,
to Oldham County, and
yeah.
I don't know about North Oldham yet.
I don't know if you know or not, but they're doing away with South Odom's welding lab, and they're building them a standalone lab. I think Declan's getting like 25 booths out there. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
So they're doing a huge renovation. I think Walker's got it, right?
I'm not sure who's got it.
One of our 2 contractors has that job, and it's
Yeah.
the biggest school project I think ever in Oldham County.
Yeah,
If I read that right, it's the newspapers right now.
right.
Big deal,
It's a huge deal.
and they just got their new stadium done.
Right.
I mean, I can hear it from my house.
Right,
Playing band
Right.
5 a.m. to midnight.
Right.
All the time.
right. And that's what Declan says. They get about 90 kids that want to come into the
Yeah.
welding program.
And that's over 6 periods.
Yeah.
So they just kind of filter them in.
Right. And, he can only accommodate about 12 per period just
Mhm.
because of the size of his lab. So they're having to turn away
Really.
an incredible amount of kids.
How many booths do you have now?
He's got 12 now.
Okay. So,
Yeah. So
he's 25, so he'll
Yeah.
double this.
Right.
Right.
Right. He's going to double his capacity, which in turn will help the kids explore other options. Because I'm not reinventing the wheel here when I say that most people, if they go to college, they're not really going to get out of college and do what they thought they were going to do for a living. And then they've got thousands of dollars of debt hanging over their head. And we have a mass exodus out of the trades with the baby boomers retiring. So they're seeing that void. The teachers are seeing that void. When we go into the classrooms and do outreach and job fairs, it's not uncommon for teachers to stop their kids before we get ready to do a presentation and say, you need to listen to these guys. Don't make the mistake that I did and go to 8-10 years of college, depending on what you're going to do, what kind of masters you're going to acquire.
Oh, yeah.
And $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. Right.
I mean, God bless them. We need
Right.
teachers.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's
There is a path to six figures. It's
yes.
not through college.
That's exactly
We
right.
do give us 5 years, but
Right.
it's 2 nights a week.
Right.
Or, you do it's the same amount of hours.
Right.
246 hours a year. Plus, however many, as many hours you can work on the job. So,
Yeah.
So you do a lot of stuff. I know Nick goes out. Mike, he was sent around some email chain the other day
Sure.
trying to get some traction with some, like Valley High School.
Right.
They have like a service.
Yeah. Mike has done really good. I don't want to steal his thunder, but Mike's done a really good job of reaching out to service
Mhm.
managers and getting them in contact with instructors at different schools.
Yeah, I'll get him in here in a couple of weeks. We'll
Yeah.
talk about all that. But yeah.
But and like when I started, Nick told me, he was like, man, he was like, you will gain your own traction with the
Mhm.
contact at the schools and the school boards and stuff. And I have. I mean, I'm going to places Nick has never gone to, and we just divide and conquer because there's so many schools out there that have vocations.
And our jurisdiction's huge.
It's massive.
We get a problem with, what's the county up near Lexington that a bunch of,
Franklin,
is there one past it? I know we got
like Richmond and all that.
maybe, I know we got 3 or 4 in a couple years ago
Yeah.
when they were driving it. Like,
Yeah.
to go to Lexington.
That was it's up there around Moorhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah.
Either way,
we
yeah.
get a lot of you. Just
Right.
because we have bigger classes we can take in, we can
Right.
accommodate bigger classes, but we tell them, like, hey, we want to stay closer to home.
Right.
And I think some move and some drop out, but it just shows the appeal
Right.
that we have. And that
Rowan County.
Rowan County,
Yep.
and that you've actually reached out. Because we'll stretch out, we'll go far.
Yeah, we
goes
do.
all over the place. So
Yeah. I was down in Richmond yesterday.
our jurisdiction goes all the way to Tennessee,
Right.
and like 50 miles each side of
Right.
65, all the way up into
Right.
Indiana. So
Right. And a lot of these kids are willing to relocate.
Yeah.
They don't want to get too far from home, but if they can get within 45 minutes or an hour of Louisville, they're
which
it's
is,
a pretty good spot.
I know a lot of people don't understand that, but I mean, throughout my career, I'm 30 minutes from here now.
Mhm.
That's probably the closest I've ever consistently been here. Generally, it's 45 to an hour. Especially if you're a foreman,
Right.
wherever they say go. Now you have
Right.
a truck, but still, I remember going to Lebanon and Shelbyville. I mean, that's an hour and 15 minutes every day there and back.
Right.
Working 7 days a week.
Right.
But
and these kids, they're like, oh, driving 2 hours a day ain't that bad. But then they don't think about the drive home and 8 hours they do at work, the 3.5 hours they do at school. And before you know it, that's a 12, 14-hour day.
and you get burnt out.
And you get burnt out. So it's expensive and a lot of wear and tear on your car. So
Nobody carpools anymore.
no,
We used to carpool all the
No.
time. I don't know why they don't.
I don't know.
Like, here, you drive this week, we'll pull gas money.
Right.
You drive next week. I mean,
right.
I guess nobody likes the same podcast. I don't know what it is, but like,
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
so out of the high schools you visited, during your tenure, so the young men and women that actually get accepted, I'm sure you spend some time with them. You kind of coach them into how to apply. What traits do you see that usually get into the apprenticeship? Like, what do you notice from the young men and women that actually helps them become accepted? That actually shows through when they take the work keys and when they go to the interview.
So, something that I see is kids that understand respect, kids that understand how to carry on a conversation with someone.
It's a big deal.
It is a huge deal. Because generally what I've seen are those kids have, they're just dialed in better. They hang on every word that you say, they make contact, they come up with intelligent questions.
Yeah.
And those are the kids that I keep in contact with. Because you can see good ones.
Yeah.
You get used to talking to them and you end up being able to identify those kids. When we do classroom presentations, like I was saying earlier, the ones that hang out
Mm-hmm.
after the presentation's over and everybody takes off and heads to their class, those are the ones you want. Those are the ones that are really dialed in and interested.
They're at least here for the right reason.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It may not work out, but initially they're here to.
Right. And then we also lean heavily on their instructors.
True.
Their recommendations. Because if they're not doing a good job for the instructor, and maybe they may be able to, schmooze us over and we think they're a really good kid, and then their instructor's like, wait a minute, this kid isn't really what they're cracked up to be.
Right.
So, but those traits there, and it's just the new generation of kids are just as good as we are. They've been raised different than us.
Oh yeah.
Been
raised digitally.
They've been raised digitally, and
Right.
Right.
Jumping bikes and eating mud. They're
Right.
They have the newest iPad.
Right.
So
Right. And it's something that we've, as training coordinators and as mentors, we have to adjust our styles to the apprentices. Not every apprentice that you deal with is going to respond the same as one that you just talked to.
We can't afford to be as stringent. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and we're not the same.
No.
All three of y'all are different in there.
Right.
So, but you each get the job done. And
Right.
you do things your way and it works.
Right.
So, everyone else can, at the end of the day, when they say there's so many ways to put pipe up, as long as you're doing it safely and efficiently,
Right.
what's it matter?
Who cares? That's right.
At the end of the day, the pipe's in the air, the welds are made, nobody's hurt.
Yeah.
Made some money, we're on to the next one.
Yeah. Because it was. It's pretty neat to just see the apprentices, how they gravitate towards me or Nick or Mike. That's. Speaking to your point, we're all very different, and that's why it works.
Yeah.
That's why it
They'll
works.
play you too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I said no, I'm going to Dad.
And they.
Dad said no, I'm going to Uncle Larry.
Right. They forget that. Most of us, or me and Nick and Mike, we pretty much know when we're going to the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah. So we talk a lot.
Oh yeah.
Talk a lot.
Do these same traits translate to the actual apprenticeships? To say they're in,
Yes.
what actually, because we have some apprentices who are quiet, kind of awkward, but I feel like they can still do good work. And you almost need someone like that to be in a shop forever.
Right.
You need someone who's okay, not communicating.
Right. Right.
Because some people can't shut up for a second,
Right.
but they can work while they're talking, which is fine.
Right.
So, what traits do you see in the apprenticeship?
Well, you brought up the communication aspect, and that kind of follows back to the conversation we just had. So many young people nowadays, don't have to communicate in this style, the same style that we have to communicate on the job to get.
Send a text.
Just send a text,
All lowercase letters too. What are y'all doing? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I'm not even an English major, but it drives me nuts. No
Right.
periods, no commas.
no punctuation. Run
It's
off
just-
sentences are okay. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, that's not. When you do a report, you got to do it right. Why would you text?
Right.
They actually go into and change the text where there's no capital letters.
Right.
I've never seen it.
Right.
I mean, that's-
Yeah. I guess we're just not cool around them.
But I've seen it's one thing for my kids,
Yeah.
of course they're older now, but at the time, but now when I get a 27-year-old send me a text like that, I'm like, son of a bitch.
Right. Right. To the traits that we see, there aren't really any personality traits that are more successful than. Well,
Fair enough.
fair enough. Yeah, we'll leave that there. So the personality traits that we see are successful. We really see all of them as being successful because the quiet kid that sits in the corner and never speaks up. Perfect example, Robbie Lanham. He's a bad boy.
Yeah.
But
He's got a little personality.
he does have
But he's
personality.
probably shy.
But when he was an apprentice, he didn't say anything, but then you have your more outspoken ones, and it takes all types.
It takes a village.
It does take a
You need it
village.
all.
It does take a village, and you're usually your more outspoken ones are usually end up being your class stewards and things like that in the program. And you know, your more soft-spoken ones, they're a great number two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anybody that's ever ran work,
You
gotta have a great number two.
You gotta have a Robin.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Needs some backup.
Right.
Someone who knows you. You know, you're Scottie Pippen. Like,
Right.
I got you.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
So, all right. So now we're into the apprenticeship program, right? So now we're getting competition time. Like, so, harp on the trade thing one more time. Like, what kind of traits do you think would be that? I guess you look forward to notice in someone who actually who was like in the running to be to representing 502.
So we do it a little bit different.
Because I know it's all. I mean, it's not just certs out. I guess they do in the welding application, but
Right.
we have two of them that are all the same certs.
Right. Right. So what we do, and it has worked pretty well for us, is we have started letting our instructors vote at our instructor meetings.
Okay.
We have one in the summer and one around Christmas. The one at Christmas, we let our instructors vote for their top 5 apprentices that they feel would represent us best at the competition. And
they can free pick any of them?
They can pick, we give them the class list.
Okay.
And they can pick any of them.
You don't always do a 5th year though, right?
We don't.
Okay.
We don't. Now, we always go to the 5th years first, but this past year, none of the 5th years were really interested. The top vote getter, he was interested, but he had some commitments that he needed to uphold, and he
You don't like that pressure.
Right.
That's a lot.
Right. It's a lot of pressure, man. And so we had to back up and go into the 4th year class, which
we had good ones.
We had great ones. Great ones.
We always hang tough. I mean, even I always tell them too, you can tell they're so defeated when they don't make it. But I'm like, dude, you were like, if it's 99,
right.
Everyone got a 99, and you're like
right.
0.75, and this dude's like 0.82.
Right.
Like, it was so, we had to split hairs because they're all so talented.
That's right. Crazy. That's right. And so, we let our instructors pick, and then we look at the choices, because the instructors are going usually off of ability.
Right.
And that's not everything. The contestants need to make sure that they carry themselves the right way. Mm-hmm. They're representing the local. They're being nice to the other competitors. Yeah. That's a big one.
We don't want some kitty powers out there.
Right. Right. And are they respectable to our training center?
Right.
Because if they go into another training center and they're tearing up the tools, they're throwing their welding leads on the ground and dancing
right.
all over them while they're doing something, that's not stuff we want to see.
Right.
And that's all taken into consideration when the judges are judging the project.
That's what I was talking about, splitting hairs. Like,
yeah.
You got 2 that crushed it.
Right.
This guy tucked his shirt in. Whatever stood out.
Right.
Is more professional is usually what I see.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Which is what, it's a speech I always give to all the first years, and then I re-give it, when the 5th years turn out, I'm like, all right, you're at the top now. You have even more responsibility to be a professional at all times. Like always.
Yeah.
So.
And that's, reverting back to the outreach, that's something I'll always talk about in my presentation, is that we are the pinnacle of the trades.
Yeah.
We have to go in, and we're held to a much higher standard than Joe Blow Mechanical.
But people are like, that's not fair. I'm like, no, it is fair. We should be. We claim it.
Right.
We claim we're the best.
Right.
Be the best.
Right. Right.
If your ass is hanging out of your jeans because there's a rip, I'm like, that's not professional. You know what I mean? If you look, if your shirt's not getting clean when you wash it, like, why do you get another one?
Right.
Get you know what I mean? But like, you have to look, appropriate when you go to work.
That's right.
You can cut your hair every now and then.
Right.
There's some things, when you show up, and people always, I've had some conversations with some young guys, and it's like, wanted this and that. I'm like, all right, well, you want to be the Yankees, but there's a standard. Shirts are tucked in, no beards, hair. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you want to be and make the top money, you have to carry yourself a certain way.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Boots aren't dirty. You know what I mean? You're not dipping in class. I mean,
Right.
there's just so many little things that if you want to be treated like the best, you have to act like it. And they don't really get that yet.
And a lot of that comes with maturity, but the culture change starts at the school.
Yeah.
And we hold people to those standards, and then when they get older, they're like, oh, maybe those coordinators were such assholes. Maybe they did have a point behind them. There's a method to their madness.
Yeah, man. Always have to set yourself apart.
That's right.
We can go down a further road. Fitness, but I'll let that one go.
Right.
And, so, has there been any surprise contestants that come out of nowhere that kind of that you didn't think they had a shot, and then come the fifth year, it's like, some bitch doesn't turn into something.
Yeah. The one that stands out in my mind,
and you don't have to give a name. You can if you want.
our contestant, I'll give his name,
All right.
Wyatt Cobb.
Yes.
Wyatt, I remember when I was still, I don't know if I was still a Globe when he started. No, I was a Globe when he shadowed from Prosser.
Mm.
And man, he come in there like his shit didn't stink.
Yeah.
And
He's still got a little bit of that to him.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
He's using it the right way.
He's using it the right way, and just to see him mature throughout the apprenticeship program, and seeing him help. He has a natural gift for welding, and to see him back up and help his fellow classmates and just do whatever he needs to do to make sure that his program was moving forward. And I mean, he represented us great at the contest. He made it to district.
Yeah.
His genes got in the way. He's 6'4", 6'5", and they had him wadded up in a corner on the floor doing a mirror weld. Those jeans. No, not his Levi's. His family jeans. Yes. Mm-hmm. So he was at quite a disadvantage at the district contest, but he still did very, very well. Excuse me. And but no, it's why it was probably the one that surprised me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it wasn't necessarily at the contest. It was just his whole apprentice. His whole apprenticeship tenure.
Good. Yeah, I'm sure he'll like hearing that.
Yeah.
So he's cool dude. So you were also early on involved with the women's group when you first started. The inception of it and everything. I know that LA was talking to us about it. And they have this NAB2 Women Weld Nations Conference that's every year. So you went on the first one. What were your thoughts? Was it what you thought it would be? Was it?
It was quite the experience.
Because that wasn't the first year they did it, right?
No, that was the first year that Local 502 was active in it. And I often refer to myself as the sacrificial lamb on that trip because it was.
Did Chuck go too?
No. Okay. It was me, LA, Laura, and Shannon.
Oh, just y'all three?
It was just us four.
Okay, that's four. Sorry.
Yeah, it was us four. And what a powerful conference that is, to see, because it's all trades. It's not just pipe.
No,
it's all trades.
You just representative.
Yeah, and it was we were flying out there. My wife went with us.
Where was the one you went to? Vegas?
Vegas.
Okay.
And I had my AirPods in, and I was listening to a podcast. And my wife elbowed me, and she was like, "You're in trouble. What are you talking about?" So I was like, "Oh, most of the plane were women flying out to the contest or to the conference," and she said they are doing nothing but getting themselves riled up for this contest.
Okay.
And it was such a powerful conference, and it was the first time that I had really ever experienced
being a minority,
man. You know, and when I would go into registration, you register with that too, and then the UA had a booth set up also. You register with the UA. So the first booth that I went to was the UA's booth, and I get all signed in and everything, and they were giving out jackets, UA jackets, and they were a quarter. They were nice jackets and everything. And when you signed up for the conference, you gave them your jacket size. And I get signed up, and they're like, "All right, thank you for checking in." And I'm like,
"Where's my jacket?"
I'm like, "Do I not get a jacket?" And they're like, "We're holding those for the women and making sure they all get their sizes." And I'm like, "Cool, you know." And then,
did you get one?
No. Still waiting on it, but not worried about the jacket yet. And so turn around and go to register, and this lady she was from New York. She was an iron worker, bigger than me, had long dreads, plenty of piercings and tattoos and everything. And she's sizing me up in line, and she goes, "You realize this conference is for women?" And I'm like, "I do." She goes, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm a representative of our local, and I'm trying to get our local more involved in helping women get into the trades." And she just didn't say anything, just sized me up again. And that's something that she has obviously experienced on the job.
She sized you up twice. You got to take her out. Like, one time's fine. Twice, like, you want to go? Like,
she was bigger than me. She probably had 100 pounds on me, bro. Yeah.
Big tree fall.
But that's something that she's obviously experienced on the job. So she's
yeah, she's bigger than you. Of course, people are looking at her. Like,
right.
What the hell?
Right.
Because what are you, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, 6'4".
That's a big woman.
She's a big woman.
Yeah.
She was a big woman. Yeah. And then when you're at that conference, there are breakout groups. So you sign up for different breakout groups that you want to be involved in. And man, walking in to those classes and having 30 people in the class and you're the only guy in there, that really was a wake-up call for me on what it feels like for young women getting into the trades. Because, we are doing much better as a local, accepting women into our apprenticeship program and including them. But not many of us can say we've walked into a room and we've been the only minority, or we've been a minority. And it's an eye-opening experience. It's a very powerful experience. One of the classes I went into, they started the male bashing, and I'm sitting back there. They were starting to turn around and eyeball me and stuff. And
that's him.
Yeah, get him. The instructor actually had to calm him down. And she was like, "Look,
really,
he's obviously here for the right reasons. He's an ally. He hasn't said anything derogatory to anybody. He's taken all of your slandering and still smiled. Y'all need to ease up a little bit." And they did. Some of them come up and apologized after the class. But it's a great conference. I hope more and more people get involved. And something that we need to do better as a local is with our new women's committee. We need to accept them and listen to them, and get involved with them. That is a term that I just threw out, being an ally. That is a term that the UA uses often when it comes to their women's committees. And the purpose of that is to try to get the guys involved to where it's an all-inclusive committee.
Right.
And we can help do that on the job sites and at school, and to help people feel more comfortable getting out of their comfort zone.
And I think that's, two-sided coin, because yes, they're obviously chauvinistic assholes out there. I've seen it. It's very disrespectful and it sucks. But 20 years ago, I wouldn't want my daughter to enter the trade. Right. You know what I mean? So it's almost like frowned upon. You know what I mean? And it's like, so you don't want a woman doing it. I mean, just the natural gentleman, if you are any kind of man, you're like, I don't want her doing this. She could be doing something better, but women want to do it. And it's awesome. And, and then the more they do it and the more they're around the men and, it just kind of naturally just like, oh, okay, this is all cool. But, there was obviously going to be some pushback initially,
Yes.
And I'm glad that, this conference is doing what it's doing, but I don't think it's all out of hate.
No.
I think it's just out of like,
It's
because
not
guys
normal.
like, I can't be myself. It's like,
Right.
you talk like a dipshit. Like,
Right.
I mean, guys don't like hearing it either, but they're not going to say nothing to you.
Right.
But now there's a woman here, and like,
Right.
show some respect.
Maybe you shouldn't be drawing the dick and balls on the shit can walls.
You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
hey, come on, I thought.
What are you, 7?
Yeah. You're running for everyone anyway.
Right.
And then they get rid of all, or they got
Right.
people, watching you use the restroom. So,
Right. And that's something we see.
immature men
Well,
ruin a lot of things for a lot of people.
and we're good at that. We're good at that. To the point of women getting involved in the trades, back to the outreach, we are seeing more and more young women get into vocational classes, and they are usually top of the class.
Yeah.
And it's it's a maturity thing. Girls usually mature much faster than guys. Their attention to details good. Their communication skills are good, and they listen to instruction also.
Mm-hmm.
I was the same way when I was a young man. I got it.
Yeah.
I hear you, but I got it. And you go on and you struggle, and then you finally end up coming back around. The girls are different. They're not going to jump in that freezing pool. They're going to go up and stick their hand in it before they jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a bad advice.
Not bad advice.
Hold lunch. Let's go. I'm good.
Right.
Well, yeah. What is good? We're getting a lot of good feedback. We're getting more in every year. Which is
Every
great.
year. I mean, last time I saw the numbers, from when we went to that NAB2 conference in Las Vegas to last year, we more than tripled the amount of women in our local.
So I sit on interviews.
Yeah.
And like I see them, like we're not choosing these women because they're women.
No.
Like they are
qualified. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
We haven't tried to hit a quota because we don't have to, because so
Right.
many good women are coming through. Like we don't have to play that game. Like it's
right. We've partnered with PRP with that women's welding competition. I mean, those girls come
Which
in
is great.
smoking.
Great. Because that's something that it's
Yeah.
not a lack of something better to do
No.
on their part. You know what I mean?
No.
It's actually
Right.
something they want to do, something they're good at, and you don't need to. And even early on, I was like, well, I mean, she can't pick that pipe up. Like, I'm like, well, she don't have to.
Right.
Like, there's so many things, like,
Mhm.
good in computers. So I'll give you an example. When I was doing the PMOP job, I had Sarah B. People would say, oh, she's hardworking. I thought she was great. And she was sharp. And I'm like, can you use a computer? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, take this Apprentice. And they laid out, boom, everything. I mean, she stayed in front of everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
huge resource. I mean,
Yeah.
she was fantastic. I mean, she had her own computer. I was like, you do you, girl, just go
Right.
for it. And she took little Cody with her and drug him around, and and he shot the lines. And so then all we had to do was build hangers and come back and shoot a laser up. And I'm like,
Right.
someone was going to do it.
Right.
And she's better at it because half the guys like, I don't know how to use that damn thing. She's like, I got this.
Right.
It was great. So
Right.
be resourceful, just with anyone, not even just a woman, just a guy. I mean, if there's someone you feel like is like not getting it, there is something that they're good at.
Absolutely.
A good foreman finds it.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Some guys I've been working and had a journeyman and an apprentice rod, welding on the ladder, and it's like, what's the apprentice doing up there? I'm like, it's a 2-man crew regardless. No matter who's up there welding, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
let the young man get some reps.
Right.
If you don't got a break, you know what I
Right.
mean? If there's a tough weld, he'll make it. But
Right.
it's the same thing.
That's
So,
right.
I don't know, some good
And
kids.
we see that so much in the apprenticeship program, because we do have our turnout requirements that everybody has to meet. Some people struggle,
Mhm.
and it's not for lack of trying. They may struggle in welding. They're coming in on their own time, and they're progressing, but they're just progressing much slower than other people. But then they get in, to an advanced pipe fitting class or a backflow or med gas class, and man, they just take off.
Right.
So it's not a one trick. one trick horse.
No, there's so many.
There's so
you know, which we'll talk about that later. That
Right.
quote I was telling you about, but like you can self-limit yourself, and it's
Sure.
like, hey, you done that? And it's like,
Right.
me?
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
So Terry's been a big part of that. She's
She has.
pretty special to you.
She has.
Terry Bangs, what's up, girl?
Yeah.
So
The Queen Bee right
Queen
there.
Bee right there, yeah.
Yeah, man.
She's
Yeah.
doing well. I think she's still going a lot, but I think maybe she's
Yeah.
taking a step back a little bit. I know
She has. She.
some of the younger ladies.
Right. Right. Yeah. And you know, Terry is. She's a great role model. I mean,
She come through a rough time.
She came through in a rough time, like the '80s, baby. Yeah, yeah. And she was probably the only woman in the low. I think there was another Gail Wood. I think she passed away.
Brenda Lee. Forget her name.
Yeah.
So terrible now. BB is what we called her.
Yeah.
She had a charger, had the B
Yeah.
on the side. She was like, oh, man.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, Terry, you know, is a trailblazer, one of the best pipe fitters I've ever worked with.
And she's not. She's not upset. She, you know what I mean? She's
Right.
still has a good attitude.
Right.
She's still cool. You know what I mean? I'm sure she could be just pissed off all the time. You know,
Right.
You know, it helped all y'all.
Right.
And it helped that, you know, she made friends and, you know, but still she made friends because she did a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't just, like you said, a one trick pony. She was in the shop. She was in the shop a lot, but, you know, she was at Buffalo Trace
Right.
working with my son.
Right.
The door, you know, she's been all over. So,
Right.
you know, she's a good
Well,
worker.
she's good, and you know, and
So good
something.
role model.
She's a great role model, and something that I know she's pipe fitter blunt with the new girls getting into the trade, and it's something she always says. You know, you are entering into a man's world, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful, but you know, you're not going to change this culture overnight. You're not going to probably even change it a whole lot during your career, but
everyone is a step forward.
everyone is a step forward.
And I mean, you know, dudes, I mean, I get hit on,
Right.
you know, a lot,
Right.
which can get annoying for most. Some
Right.
maybe not, I don't know. But I mean,
Right.
you know, it's like,
Right.
it's off. Like,
Right.
it's going to work.
Right. Another one that's been, you know, fantastic down at school is Julia McIntyre.
She's coming on in a couple weeks.
Absolutely killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely killing it. And, you know, she's teaching one of the pipe fitter practices class for us and doing a great job.
The thing about it, too, she's from a family.
Right.
You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
wasn't new to this.
Right.
I mean, you know, they live in BFE.
Right.
And, you know, her dads, her brothers, cousins. I mean,
Right.
you know, there's 18 rigs in here now.
Right.
So
Right.
it's good when you come up, just like me, I come up in a union household.
Mhm.
You know, so I can move the game before I get into it. I'll
Right.
see my stepdad come home, you know, grumpy as shit, you know, all hours of the night, you know, doing shutdowns. Like I knew what to expect going
Yeah.
on. But I also saw his paycheck a few times.
Right.
I was like, oh, snap.
Right. Yeah, when my grandfather dragged me by my ear down and signed me up, it was for the carpenters local back in the '90s. And, yeah, it's in the past, and I knew I was getting into something good.
Mhm.
You know,
It's a good trade.
it's correct. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a good trade, and I wasn't really referring to the trade. I'm referring to the union trades.
Right.
Any of the trades.
You're
You're
thinking carpenter, you're thinking like, you know,
Right.
this old house.
Right.
Bob Vila.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you know, doing that. You put up a lot of scaffold today.
Right. Right. And you can't go wrong with the skilled trades, right?
No.
At all.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
So, what's your biggest joy you get out of the job?
Oh,
That you wouldn't be, you know, that's your, you know, it's like a public thing.
Right.
You know, I'm not telling people.
Right. What I enjoy most is being a mentor for the young people, because you see so many young people get into the trade that haven't necessarily had a lot of structure at home, don't necessarily have good role models at home.
Let's say I
I mean, a male role model is
I needed it.
so important. Yes.
found a big brother that wasn't my big brother,
Right.
or a father figure.
Right.
I love Joe Ford to death. He's
Right.
a father figure to me,
Right.
and it, you know, really took me under his wing. You know, gave me shit and slapped me around a little bit.
Right.
It's like, you know, this is how you carry yourself.
Right.
Because I saw him carry himself that way. Look at him now.
Right.
Other guys, you know,
Right.
Charlie Ford, even Ed Pruitt, as far as all these guys, but Rick Shelton, I had a group of guys who always held me accountable.
Right.
So.
Right. And that to me is, a lot of the apprentices, or not a lot, some of the apprentices look at us as the enemy, and we're not.
Guys like that look at everyone as you're looking for a fight.
Right. We're just trying to get the best out of an individual.
Yeah.
I tell the story about how the pathway of my career and things, and I would have never applied for the coordinator position if the guys in the weld shop weren't pushing me to do it. And they pushed me to do it, and I reluctantly did it, and look at me now.
You are the guy that we were looking for.
Yeah.
No disrespect to any other candidates. There was a lot of good ones, but I felt like with what was there already, it needed a big brother figure. Like that you were, the scoutmaster for a while.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you kind of have that. Rapport.
Right.
With just people. It's just being someone who's going to hold you accountable, but also be a little compassionate.
Right.
And understands.
Right.
And it's not just.
Right. Right. The old saying, if you can't be their friend, that's not right. You can be somebody's friend and still hold them accountable.
True.
And push them and
it's a different relationship.
It's a different relationship.
Just like father son. Like you're not really, because your boys are older.
Right.
I mean, now I can cut back and really be loose with Malachi a little more than when he was 18.
Right.
Right. Now it's like, what up,
Right. Right.
I mean, I like to pay your bills. Who you're
Right. Like my relationship with my two boys now it's great.
Which are both very good young men.
Very good young men.
Yep.
Very good young men.
Very impressed.
And but I tell you, when they were in high school, from about 13 to 20, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
Dirty.
Yeah, man.
I'm not the person that cheat.
Yeah, they do some weird stuff.
Change your underwear. So mine would be, because I wrote a little something for it, is associating with types of people that I wouldn't, in my position now, that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that with if I was still in the field. Like, I just literally just being in the office and being, always had rapport with the hall, but really not that much. Obviously, I knew Ricky. Ricky was cool. I've known Scott my whole career. Danny, other than saying hi, Wilson. But being in here and all of a sudden being one of the guys in Kentucky Pipe Trades, in the UA, meeting other trades managers, meeting politicians, senator. There's just judges,
Right.
And just business owners, just like a whole litany of people, like a network that you wouldn't even think existed,
Right.
Without being in this spot. So that's pretty cool.
It's neat, man.
Mm-hmm.
It really is neat. You said it. You become best friends with people you would not even on your
Friends
radar.
all over the country. Right. And I can call and be like, "What's up, man? I'm in town. Come on over." And likewise, it's actually really good.
And I'll leave this kid's name out of it, but he's a young man. He's still an apprentice, and he got off to a rocky start, man. And he just bucking the system, and school was a waste of his time. And him and I got in the motherfucking match in the parking lot, and
we narrowed down to 3.
And now, man, he just calls me for advice. You know what I mean? And it's so cool because
it really is.
we got off on the total wrong foot, and it's come full circle. And I think so much of this young man, and it's just neat.
Like even that, you go back to the women's group,
right?
Sometimes you get off on the wrong foot, but it's what you do after that.
Right.
Right. I'm sure Terry butted heads with guys who ended up being great friends. But just in general, it's not always like, wait, he's dead to me.
Right.
It's like,
yeah,
hold up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's try to understand each other.
Right.
Now, if you get there and then it doesn't work out, then it is what it is. But I think everyone deserves a second chance.
Absolutely.
It's something heinous. I'm not condoning Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Just
right.
So what do you think a secret joy you get out of your job that you wouldn't brag about, but also makes you know,
So, uh, a secret joy for me is seeing that light bulb come on for an apprentice.
just that mine too.
I mean,
Even
it's
journeyman.
even journeyman. To watch someone learn something, absorb it, and then turn around and teach it to somebody else.
It's like white.
Is just like wife. You know, there's a saying in the trades: you train your apprentice better to you because your pension depends on it.
Pension, our livelihood.
Our livelihood depends on it.
You said you can't say you're the best.
Right.
You're not training the best to take your
Right.
spot because we can't do this forever.
Right.
You have to.
Right.
Which is, mine too. You see a member finally realize their potential and see them just in everything. Even if, I've seen like great welders couldn't get to work on time or just had a bad attitude. It's like you figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people throw a fit because they take an HVAC exam and wouldn't take it.
Right.
Right now we're actually, pillars of a contractor and actually get it. And it's like, man, and it's like, I don't know, I feel like we're so stuck in our own heads. You create a rut in your head that you can't get out.
Right.
It's like, sometimes it's nice to just kind of expand it.
Right.
So,
And that's something that we see all the time when, we call it fifth year itis. They've got things they need to turn out of the program. They're going through the motions to complete their hours. Man, they squall loud and they squall hard, but they stick to it, and then it's a good example for their other classmates. Hey, this person has everything they need to turn out, and more a lot of times. They've gone over and beyond, but they're still backing up and they're playing the game, and they're setting a good example.
they respect the game.
They respect the game.
And that's the same way in college.
Right.
I mean, you see these like, I gotta get my thesis done, and it's like, bro, I've been done. Like, I'm taking gym now just so I can stay on campus and hang out. It's like my tuition's paid. Like, I mean, there's, I don't know. So I was reading you this quote earlier. You care if I read it?
No.
It's from Nick Saban, and I just pound this all the time in the morning when I'm working out. But so he was talking about. So the quote actually goes, he was speaking at a motivational conference. He was like, this guy was catching big fish, throwing them back, catching little fish, and keeping them. And he's like, I finally got so pissed off. I said, man, why are you throwing the big fish back and keeping the little ones? The guy said, I only got a 9-inch frying pan. And he's like, oh my God. So then he goes on to tell the story of, he can look at players and say, how big is your frying pan? Which is what we can say to apprentices. Like, what is your capacity?
Right.
What is your confidence? And then the one he gets me is like, what is your self-imposed limitations? Like, it's like, I talk to people who stood today, like, oh, I can't weld. I'm like, yeah, you can.
You can.
Unless you're blind, you can weld.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have the patience. You don't, and it takes a lot. But he went on to say, just like all of you have them, we all have them. I got them. I'm sure you got them. But, there's something that we think we can't do, but we can. We might have to change, though, because really, if you do things the way you've always done them, then you've always done them. Sorry, then you always get the same result. Right? So, which can be good or bad. So you just kind of train yourself to always. So if you always do things the right way, then it's usually always going to fall in your favor. But if you always do things the wrong way, or you always have these self-imposed limitations, or you can't see past your own hand, it's really going to hold you back. Guys like, I ain't doing plumbing work. I'm like, wow. Like, why would you ever limit yourself?
Right.
Like, just more tools in your tool belt to go work.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't. Some people get caught on the whole, like, I'm not doing this.
Right.
That's not my work. And I'm like, if it's UA, it's your work.
It's our work.
When you try to hold yourself back, because you might find something over there that's
right.
Every door not open is an opportunity lost.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to stay in the room. It's not a trap door. You can go in there and try it out, and if you don't like it, you can walk back out and get another door. You know what I mean? But it's worth exploring and not ever kind of hold yourself to a.
And that's a big job of ours as coordinators and instructors. It's probably really more on the instructors is to unlock that potential in an individual, because these classes aren't easy. They get harder and harder every year because the standards are being raised every year by our customers, by the UA. if we aren't getting better and if we aren't growing, we're down.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, look at what this local's done in the past 5 years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
900 members.
And we've grown healthy.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't taken in too many members to where we haven't been able to absorb all the apprentices and everybody's working. You know, I mean, a lot of it has to do with the job market and things, but I really
we've grown with the job market.
Right. We
haven't tried to hit
Right.
quotas, I should say.
Right.
You know, because a lot of locals have to hit quotas, and it's like then they like, well, go on the road.
Right.
I mean, it's fun for some
Right.
people, but not everybody wants to, you know,
Right.
be gone all the time.
Right. Right. And, you know, a lot of I get asked a lot, man, you all are taking a lot of apprentices. What are you going to do if the job market falls off? What are you going to do if this happens? Me personally, I think this is our new normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you know, it's construction. We have our highs and we have our lows, but I don't know. I don't see us reverting as a local.
No.
We've got.
But this goes back to the self-imposed limitations. If you're happy, being complacent, and we have a surplus of people, that's on you if you're not working.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It's not
That's
on
right.
me. It's not on you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I'll give everyone every opportunity in the world, you know, and do my best, and I'll vouch for people like, hey, give this guy a shot, give this girl a shot. But if you continue to go to work and do the same shit you always do, and you know, you're not an asset, you're not a tool, you're just a person.
Right.
I just want to firewatch for
Right.
20 years.
You're using the same damn frying pan, like from your quote.
There you go.
Change out your frying pan.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Open your mind.
Right.
Try.
Right.
And maybe you tried before and got burnt.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Not everyone stays with their first love, you know.
Right.
And it hurts sometimes.
Right.
And you grow and you learn. You know what I mean? It's like you don't ever just like, well, I tried, now it's over. It's like, oh man, try again. Keep trying.
Right. Right. I mean, you know, you and I are perfect product or perfect examples of that, man. You know, I had people push me to jump out of my comfort zone and go after this position. I'm sure you had the same.
Yeah.
And it's
where
tough.
life starts. Life starts out of your comfort zone.
It's tough. It's
Yeah,
scary. But if you have the will to make yourself better, good things are going to come. Absolutely.
I'm thinking how much confidence you have now.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't ever get nervous going into a room anymore.
No. No. 6 years ago, I'd never been able to sit here and do this.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
It's pretty wild.
it is. It's crazy.
So look at us.
I know.
That's it. Get like look at us. Paul Rudd. Who do that? So finish on a few of things. So your current elected position, you were on the executive board, doing a fine job with that as well. What are your duties of the job? What were your expectations going in? Has it been easier or harder than expected?
So yeah, that's a big question. So
Take it as far as you want.
right. The duties of the executive board, you know, we're the liaisons between the membership and the full-time officers for the local. We
Checks and
hear
balances.
the checks and balances. We hear the inside track before the membership does, and we get to ask the tough questions to you guys without being in front of,
Right.
without having the membership there, and it's been a very neat job. I underestimated the job. You know, we've hit some serious milestones with this current executive board.
Market recovery was good.
Yeah, we've
I think it was past due. Need to be
right,
looked at. Which is
right.
good.
Yeah, we've spent an incredible amount of time.
We're going on a year now, right?
Yeah,
Feels like.
yeah.
Our anniversary.
We've had at least two meetings a month for a year, rewriting this market recovery language, and what an honor to be a part of, to be trusted by the membership
Yeah.
to do that. And you know, me and Jason and Hoop and JT and Eric, I mean, we have gotten along so good. We've become closer as brothers, and trust me,
It's a good group of guys.
it is a it's a great group of guys, and we don't agree on everything. We're all very, very different.
That's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
You all move in the same direction,
Yes,
but sometimes it takes people to get to a little bit
Yeah.
longer to get there. And if You can't. I like that group because if you can't sell it, it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
Which is kind of what the executive board does. Like,
Right.
if anything's going to be changed or moved, you got to sell it to the e-board first. Why is it a good idea? Have you done your due diligence? And they will tell you, come back with some more data, or
Right.
this is not going the way it is.
Right.
Or give you a perspective that makes you think like, all right, well maybe everything is fine the way it is. I just didn't think, So it's good though. These guys do the checks and balances. They do a fantastic job, and it's this is the second iteration of e-board. That I've been with. There were some other guys who have moved on to other positions, but it's a good group.
Yeah.
So be diligent, negotiate too.
Right. We're your negotiating committee, which that's coming on us, guys. And it's a daunting task. We haven't had much time to spend on that because we've been dealing with market recovery. But we started a hardship fund too, and that's something that has really started gaining traction.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I wish members would. Before it would, when we set a hardship, so we're going to take up a collection for Joe Schmo, whose house burnt down, yada yada yada. And I mean, it's not really it's kind of more of a cashless society than it used to be. So it is kind of hard to get a collection going for a member that really needs help. So that's why we started this fund. Well, the most you can donate is $5.99 before they get taxed. But I mean, hell, I remember 10 years ago, you'd see a couple grand go to a guy just from if everyone threw up $5. I mean, they'd have enough, to help them, until the insurance checks comes in, till you can get back to work, till something happens, when it's it's kind of like a GoFundMe for the body that I wish everyone would, There's been times I didn't have cash. It's like, you got Venmo, and it's like, I'll get you on Friday, and then it just. So I like where this is at, but I feel like people would quit chipping in. Because I know one member who desperately needs some help. He's, I tried to get him in on the pod. I'll say his name, Danny Myers. I mean, he cannot work. He was, shop stalwart forever at Intertech. Good dude. I mean, he has some debilitating disease where literally his hands are like degenerating, his feet, like he can't. He's still trying to go through disability. He's like 52, so he can't retire. He's got zero money raised for him, except $599.
Right.
So, I would really like to appeal to the body to really help this man out. Because he can't draw any money. I mean, he's just kind of just sitting there like.
Yeah, and I've been so fortunate to be on the giving end of handing someone an envelope of money.
Yeah,
and
you have
what a powerful experience that is, man. Because you see a grown man start crying because he knows they're tears of joy because he knows he can put food on his table for his family.
I'm not going to lose my house.
Right.
My wife's not leaving.
Right.
Maybe that's too dramatic. But I mean, it's like
it's real, man.
Like I have to be here for my family. I can't be at work, or I literally cannot work. I mean, this is no conjecture. Like, man can't work.
Right.
So, and you're kind of in a spot where you can't retire, or if you can, with so many penalties. I mean, it's like we just need help.
Right. And it's right. And that's that's the good thing about the hardship fund is it's not necessarily just a one-shot deal. If it's a long-term, you've been off for a long period of time, you can apply for it multiple times.
Yeah.
And people can request for it on your behalf multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's phenomenal. $599 doesn't sound like much, but when that person isn't able to put food on their table, $599 goes a long, long way.
Right. But what I was saying, you're right, is that we can also still collect as a body. It's just guaranteeing them $599. But again, if you're hurting,
right,
it's not really, especially in today's market.
Right.
It's not a lot.
Right.
Not a lot. It's not going to do a whole lot for the person. So
when I got in and we would have sanction collections and stuff.
The globe was booming, but you show up with
odds of cash, thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And
pretty few ones.
Yeah. Todd Carrico told me, he goes, son, if you can't give another brother or sister an hour of your wage, you're doing something wrong.
You know, heaven forbid one day you're in that spot.
Right.
It's like, damn,
Right.
I could really use some help right now.
Right.
You don't have to go ask, you don't have to
No.
plead with someone.
No.
Don't give too much pride for that, especially if they've actually been a good hand in work.
Right.
If they're not a beggar, you know,
Right.
it really is sucks.
Right. I mean, it's in our oath.
Yeah.
It's in our oath.
A lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you happy in your position? I know there's an election coming up in a couple of years. No names, but if things shook out the way you like to see it, is there you going to stay where you're at? You want to?
Yeah. I like staying where I'm at. I plan on staying where I'm at. I really want to be involved in negotiations. You know, that's going to be 6 months after our election, roughly somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
And you know, it's something I really want to be a part of. It's
Nobody looks forward to that.
no,
It's very necessary, but the
Yeah.
contractors don't look forward to it either.
No.
Because then it's a game that they don't want to play. We don't want to play. We got to justify how much we think we're worth.
right,
They got to keep it reasonable, you know, so we don't
Right.
price ourselves out. And it's a game of tug of war. And they always kind of throw it back at us, which, you know, it's hard to, you know, debate this sometimes. It's like, you know, I can't see paying a group of people being, you know, or, you know, people who don't try or
Right.
have constant attitude problems, you know,
Right.
the same amount. And I'm like, you know, of course, if everyone's professional, the sky's the
Yeah.
limit. But that's not the case. And that's probably not really, I don't know. They probably still try to lower us. Oh, but regardless, we kind of lose a little credibility when, you know, there's some of us who aren't, you know, really doing what these
Right. right. And it goes back to our standards
Mm-hmm.
conversation we had in the beginning. I mean, you know, we have to hold ourselves to those high standards to expect these wages and
Yeah.
these benefits.
And I was like, well, I mean, they need to hold themselves in standards too. I'm like, all right, cool. But when your house is clean, we can start talking about the other house.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Or if you're batting 1,000,
Right.
then, you know, yes, you can get up there and rooster crow all you want. But
Right.
a lot of us don't really.
Right. So yes, to answer your question, I do plan on running again for executive board, and I've loved being in that position. So so far.
You're good at it.
Yeah.
You really enjoy working with you. So,
Thank
got a little bromance going here.
Yeah.
So, real quick, I guess we'll close. Talk about family. I know you bring Romulus to the weld shops every Saturday. He was at the election recently. I brought Alvin. He was a big buzzkill. Never do that again. But it's cool. I know you got sons in. Danielle's, you know, around a lot. So got a good family.
Yeah. And I'm very proud of all of them, and you know, Isaac's a first year apprentice now, which, you know, I mean, you know that is one of the most proud moments I've ever had, you know, and to see your kid excel, and you know what good things are ahead of them.
And he wants to do good, you know. And actually, and I tell Malik all the time, I'm like, it's not going to be easier on you. It's going to be hard because you're my kid. But you know, you just got to push through it. There's nothing wrong with expecting more of yourself, because everyone's going to expect more of you too.
Right.
Sometimes unnecessary, but I mean, in general, you know, if they expect you to be at a higher standard, there's nothing wrong with, you know, trying to hold yourself to a higher standard. You know, at least.
Right. You know, when I was a young man, and I always, you know, dreamt of how successful my kids would be. I always thought about the big houses and the nice cars, and, you know, making $200,000-$300,000 a year was my idea of success when I was a young man. And it's not that. It's not that. You know, now that my boys are grown and out of the house, being a good person of society, owning your mistakes, correcting your actions, thinking of other people, paying your own bills.
Yeah.
That is success. That is success. You know,
Something's earned.
Yeah.
You can't really teach it. You can kind of show it, but you know, it does make you proud.
It does make you proud.
Yeah. And you get and all that, and $300,000 house.
Hey, man.
Boom.
Yeah, winning. Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So, how do you want to close it out?
I think that was a pretty good closeout.
All right, that was good.
Yeah.
All right, well, always a pleasure, sir.
Yes, sir.
Forward to having you again.
Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Jeremy Killebrew, everybody. Y'all have a good one.